Hi everyone, it's Debbie May from Wholesale Supplies Plus. Welcome to Handmade Studio. We're going to make some fun things in the studio today, but I have a surprise. So while you're waiting, grab a cup of coffee, grab a cup of tea, maybe a bottle of water. Make sure you like our page, make sure you share our page. Let's get a whole bunch of people in on the demo. But my surprise today, I have a few of them throughout the talk, is I want to introduce you to Abby. Abby's the girl behind the camera, and I slowly want to, through the next few videos, introduce you guys to the people in our marketing department that come up with all these really cool recipes, that set the beautiful stages for me, answer your questions, and it's a team effort. You guys might see me, but it's really a team behind the camera. So Abby is super, super shy, so please send lots of hearts. But Abby's our director of social media and digital media. So when you're on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, all of those great things, Abby's the one bringing you the wonderful content. And you set up these today. Tell me what we're going to make. She's not on camera, so talk into my chest. I'm kidding.
So what we're going to make is we're going to make a salt scrub because our theme has been sea salt.
It's really on trend, yes. Sea salt.
So we're going to do a salt scrub, and we're also going to do a sugar scrub. And one of the questions that we get a lot on social media, and I know Debbie's gotten a lot of messages about it, customer service gets a lot of messages about it, is that the foaming bath whip isn't holding enough volume. So it sometimes falls, and we've been troubleshooting for you, and we wanted to demonstrate some of those troubleshooting things that we've done for you.
Yep.
So we have two different methods we're going to try, and we're also going to show you what different amounts of exfoliants do to the foaming bath whip.
Right. I love the way you said try, because they have not. So one of the things that's really important to us at Wholesale Supplies Plus is that I don't get these tips and recipes hours before. I want it to be a lot like when you guys get a kit and you first get it and you don't really know what you're doing, which is evidenced by our last soaping and slippers. When I cut the soap and it kind of fell apart, because that happens to you guys too. And we want you to see, how long does it take to whip it? If you do these different additives, does it stay frothy? The different amount of exfoliants, like you said. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to send you back to the camera so that you can do. So thank you, Abby. Great job. So I hope you got your tea. I hope you're listening. If you're vacuuming, doing laundry, I'm going to try and talk as much as I can, so maybe you can walk away, but really stay engaged. So like Abby said, oh wait, you know me, I'm always off script. The new black oval lip tubes came, you guys. If I set it here, is this good?
Well, it's in front of your black.
Oh, how about if I do it this way? Our black oval lip tubes are now in stock. These are not surplus. They are permanent adds to our line, so buy them up. They should be on sale. So that's my big thing. Stick with us through the end. I got a big sale to announce also at the end of all of this. So like Abby said, our foaming bath whip, we changed again the process that we're making it, so that it's not as liquid, because we know you had concerns about how thin it was. And we were always kind of frustrated here at Wholesale Supplies Plus, because no matter how thin it was, we were able to get it to thicken up. Similar to when you buy whipping cream in the grocery store, it's liquid like a whole milk, but it whips into a whip. Some people are having trouble. Totally respect that. We came up with a few tips on how to thicken it, and we're going to demonstrate those today. So the first thing I'm going to do is move the salt one kind of off to the side and first do the sugar scrub. So let's see what's the easiest way. First thing we have, and I have my little cheat sheet, because as much as I want you guys to think I'm a genius with a good memory, I have 3 kids and a busy company to run, and I swear when I had those babies, they sucked all my memory skills right out with the placenta. So first thing, now all the millennials are laughing now. So the first thing we have is 8 ounces of foaming bath whip. We're going to add some glycerin to this, not right now, but I'm going to get my cup ready. And the amount of glycerin is about 0.5 ounces. This is also a kit at Wholesale Supplies Plus. So if you guys want to look for it under the sugar scrub kit, you're welcome to look at it. This is clear melt and pour soap, and before we went on camera, we went ahead and melted it. It's 5 ounces. We picked today the eucalyptus, mint, and sage fragrance. And of course, we have sugar. So the fragrance, we're going to do about 6 mLs, and the sugar is about 18 ounces. So what I'm first going to do, I do this sometimes a little bit backwards from the directions just because I've done this for 20 years. I first add my fragrance right to my soap and mix it in. So 6 mLs, if you've ever used a dropper, they're marked up to about 3 mLs is the full line. So 3, 6 mLs, squirt it all in. Now, if I was making this to sell, I'd have a hairnet on, I'd have a face mask, I'd have the gloves, which Abby conveniently put over here, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and add that fragrance, and I'm going to stir it up. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to set the recipe off to the side. I'm going to start mixing the foaming bath whip. And I'm just so you guys can hear me, I'm going to do this with a hand mixer because I know not everybody can afford a KitchenAid. And when I first started out 20 years ago, I started with a hand mixer. So I'm going to do this hopefully not too loud into the microphone. Yep. Can you see that better now? Thanks. And I'm going to go up to about a 5, a setting of a 5, and I want to whip air into this. We're about a setting of an 8 now. And I want this to froth up really nice and frothy. At the same time, and you can see it's nice and it's got air in it, I'm going to go ahead and add that melted glycerin soap. You see it getting bigger and bigger. I'm going to go ahead and add the glycerin. I'm going to turn it off for a second. I also, if I was making this at home, would have an apron, but that's okay. I want to get all the glycerin because it's so thick. This is where that KitchenAid really does come in handy, but hey, we know everybody doesn't have one starting out. So we're going to go ahead and continue to whip it. And I'm on a setting of a 7 right now. An 8. And you can see how it's getting bigger and bigger. I'm on the setting of a 9. Let me go ahead and turn it down now. Can you guys see how you can get nice peaks and it's really beautiful? If I wanted, I could go a little bit longer and get more air in it. But because I want you guys to stay engaged in the video, I'm going to go ahead and stop there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold the sugar in. Because if I were to add this while the beaters are going, it's going to get really thick. Have you ever beat like cookie dough and suddenly it's all clumped up and it's not really incorporating? I find that can happen with a hand mixer. So I'm going to add about half of the sugar. And again, the sugar is about 18 ounces. And I'm just going to mix it in. And this has a feeling of being really, really light. Almost like, almost feels like a marshmallow cream.
Debbie?
Yes.
What would you recommend to get more bubbles in the foaming bath whip if someone wanted more bubbles?
Well, look, stay tuned because another way to thicken it is we're going to use the bubble up, and that will give you a lot of bubbles. So the question is, how can you get more bubbles in the foaming bath whip? Make sure you're not adding a lot of oils because oil and water, bubbles need water, and oil and water compete for each other, and it'll compete with the lather. It'll make your bubbles pop. So you can see I'm just continuing to fold in the sugar, trying to not make too much of a mess. It's also a nice little shoulder workout. It's just kind of like cookie dough, brownie batter, all that kind of stuff. If I wanted to add color to this, I would recommend using the stained glass colors because they're a nice water-based dye and you'll get a beautiful color. You could use the color blocks and melt those in with the soap and then add it. But I personally, for this formula, like the stained glass liquid colors. And then you can see it's all in. So what I want to do you guys have any questions? No? Okay. So what I want to do is show you a little bit real quick. You can see how thick it is and how much I'm working. I would put this in a basic jar, but what I did, Abby got me some water. So I want to show you if you add a little bit of water, it is a creamy, it's not a big bubbly, but remember there's actually more sugar than soap if you add these ingredients. And it's a soft exfoliant. It reminds me almost, the sugar almost reminds me of a grit. You can see. So hopefully that. You're not going to get big Hollywood bubbles, but you really kind of don't want that. I would use this. This is one of my favorite recipes on my legs and feet. I think I had mentioned in the last Facebook Live. I find salt a little irritating on my legs because I do shave my legs. And sometimes it can kind of hurt. You know, like salt in like where you might cut when you're shaving. So that is the sugar scrub, and you can buy it as a kit at Wholesale Supplies Plus. It used to be called Debbie's Favorite Sugar Scrub, and I think over the years it might have turned into our best sugar scrub. So that's one way to thicken if you want it thickened, the foaming bath whip. Just add some glycerin soap to it, melted. So that's good. Ask questions. Jackie's online linking everything up. I'm so glad you guys are here today. I'm going to move this over. And then the other recipe I want to show you for, oh my gosh, I got to put my gloves on, or glasses. There we go. They laugh at me because we end up with a big mess when all this is done. And then I'm like, oh, I got to go answer emails. You guys clean it up. So this one, we're going to do the same recipe, but I want to show it to you with the salt. And we're using half the amount of salt, not because you can't do more, but I want you to see how it's not quite as stiff. You could use half the amount of salt, sugar. You could use brown sugar. It's just half the amount of additives. But the big difference with this recipe is we're going to use the bubble up to thicken it, and then also to answer your question earlier, to give you a little bit more lather. Or baby bubble wash thickener. Thank you. Thank you. The bubble up is for the bubble cakes. Bubble wash thickener. Okay. So first, all you guys at home, prepare your workspace. Make sure you're away from kids and pets. You don't want to get distracted.
Can we use the same colorant for both the salt and the sugar scrub?
So the question is, can we use the same colorant for both the salt and the sugar scrub? And yes, the way you determine the colors is, first of all, you look at your base. Is it a water base or is it an oil base? If it's a water base, I love the dyes because you get a nice pastel color all the way through. Micas are good too, but I just like the dyes. They're easy, they're water-based. So I'm gonna grab some water. Well, what else? So you can use both colors.
Then someone wants to know if they can use bubble up to thicken.
Yeah, yes, you could. Okay, so this is what happens when you're live. Dust flies, you cough. So we still have the glycerin. And I add glycerin to this formula because it's just a little bit of extra moisturizing agent to the skin. I like it in my scrubs.
If you want to just pause for a beat and take a look.
Thank you. You guys are like my friends and family. Thank you. You know, one of the things we do with our videos is we don't cut them and paste them and show them to you not live and all perfect. I'm just like you guys. So, all right. So let me, again, this will be 6 mLs of the fragrance. And this one is, oh, I love this one, sea salt and driftwood, which this is the coupon this month. I think it's the fragrance of the month, so it's 25% off at Wholesale Supplies Plus. And it smells fresh, but it has that little bit of wood at the end, which I just love.
Question about glycerin.
Yes.
Can you add it to bath salts?
I would not add it to bath salts alone. So the question is, can you add glycerin to bath salts? I wouldn't add it alone because glycerin attracts moisture, and moisture and salt can dissolve the salt. So I would not add it to salts. The reason why it works well with this is because of the foaming bath whip. Good question. So if you remember, last time I took the 6 mLs of fragrance and I put it in the soap, but I don't have it in the soap today, or in this formula. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add it directly to the bubble wash thickener. And again, if you haven't used the droppers, they have ml markers. 3 mLs is the top marker. So you're going to go just 3 and then 6. Take a little stir. I'll let you guys see what I'm doing. Just stir it in. And I do that. How many times have you guys done a recipe, poured it, got it in the container, and went, oh my gosh, I forgot the fragrance? That's why I fragrance one of the ingredients, because I know I'm not going to forget the ingredient, and I know the fragrance ends up in there. So we're going to go ahead and whip our bath whip. Start out first slowly on a 1, go up to about a 3. That'll prevent things from flying all over your clothes. And then eventually get up to about a 7. And then I usually do this, if I was at home, I would do this for maybe, I'm impatient. I want to tell you it's a minute or 2. The reality is it's probably 15 to 30 seconds. And now I'm at a 9, and I just want to get the air up in there. Okay, and I get it to about halfway of where I want it. And now I'm going to add the glycerin. And in this case, it's 8 ounces of foaming bath whip, about 0.5 of the glycerin, 1 ounce of the bubble wash thickener. And we'll have Jackie, we'll get all that on our website or on the Facebook. And now I'm going to go ahead and add the bubble wash thickener. And what I like to do with that is just kind of initially fold it in so that it kind of gets wet with the foaming bath whip before I whip. And now I'm just whipping more air into it. I'm up to a 9 and I'm just going to let it go. And again, this is just 8 ounces of foaming bath whip. It's just half of a 1 ounce container. And you can see it really thickening up. I'm not sure if you've got it, can see it on camera, but it wants to it's got, I'll stop here and show you. It's thickening different than the other. It's almost, it just thickens up really nice.
We have a question about if you use the foaming bath soap in other formulations, not necessarily scrubs, can you use the bubble wash thickener to make your runny product thicker?
Oh, so the question is the bubble wash thickener, will it make other things thick? It's called bubble wash thickener because it makes liquid washes thick. So if you have a shower gel and you want to add a lot of extra fragrance, you know how that can thin it out to water, and nobody wants water thin shower gel? You can add the bubble wash thickener and it'll thicken it right back up. It won't suspend items, but it'll give you a nice, thick, luxurious lather.
What about like a whipped soap?
So the question is, will it work in a whipped soap? I'm adding here about 8 ounces of salt, you guys, as I talk. So a whipped soap, like a cold process whipped soap, I've never really seen people add the bubble wash thickener to a cold process whipped soap because usually people are making a cold process whipped soap because it's natural, like it's more natural. And the bubble wash thickener is not an all-natural product. There are synthetics in there. You can add it to just foaming bath whip and whip it up into like a shaving cream. That would be great. But I don't know that I'd add it to a cold process whipped, and I wouldn't add it to melt and pour because you're going to get a real liquidy melt and pour. You could add a little bit maybe to melt and pour to increase the bubbles. I don't know if you've been over to Wholesale Supplies Plus recently, but if you haven't, jump over and there's a tab, Handmade 101. When you click on that, the search bar then only searches Handmade 101. And I remember Amris, who's behind the camera, did a really good article on ways to increase lather for melt and pour soap. And I want to say the bubble wash thickener we might have tried, or the bubble up, and we tried some honey and different things. I don't remember the whole article off the top of my head, but search it if you want to increase your lather for just melt and pour soap. There's some really good tips in there.
Do you need a preservative?
Do I need a preservative in the foaming bath in these formulas? So the foaming bath whip already has a preservative, and with both of these formulas, you don't need additional preservative. And the awesome thing is, I always do this, and then they're like, Debbie, you screwed it up. I think it might be paraben free. If you look at the foaming bath whip ingredients, I think they're paraben free. And if you could see the girls pulling out their phones behind the camera, they're checking and they're going to correct me. So while we double check that, no, you don't need additional preservative in these recipes. You're good there. They're going to check on the paraben free. But I want you to see I added that salt really very quickly. And what I want to show you, and again, they're checking the preservative. And if I'm right. You see, this old bird has been at this for 20 years. So she does know a few things. So yes, the foaming bath whip is paraben free. But I do want to show you, so we added half the amount of salt to this that we did the sugar. And I want to show you kind of the amount of lather that we make. It's definitely more gritty than the sugar because it's a very fine sugar that I like to use. And this feels almost like, it's just the salt crystals are a little bit thicker, so you get more of an exfoliant. And I feel like it's almost coating with the foaming or the bubble wash thickener. I feel like it's coating my hands more than the thickener with the melt and pour soap. But you still get a real creamy lather. And I gotta tell you, I know the other one's Debbie's favorite sugar scrub, but I kind of like this bubble wash thickener. It's slippery. That's the word I want. The soap, when I added the melt and pour soap to thicken it, it wasn't as slippery. This, I don't know if you can see how shiny my hands are, but it's like slippery. And you still get a pretty nice lather. Well, it's a creamy lather, not a big bubble lather.
So 2 questions about potential things to bring.
Sure.
Someone wants to know if we would do a more natural
Okay, so the question is, can we do a more natural foaming bath whip? And no. The answer is no. The formula has a significant amount of what's called SCI in it, and that's, I believe, derived from coconut oil, but it is a man-made synthetic ingredient, and I can't imagine anything all natural that would replace that and not significantly change the performance. So, next question. Mandarin neroli fragrance oil. I believe it was a blend. Yeah. Okay, what's the question?
If we would bring it back, or maybe if we could fragrance formulate it?
I will put the marketing team on fragrance formulating it for an upcoming issue of Handmade Magazine. The only reason I can think of we discontinued it is maybe cost. There was a time where neroli really shot up in price. And if I remember right, that formula had natural, like an essential oil neroli in it. And I think we discontinued it because we were afraid that the higher price it would sit on the shelf. We only like to bring you guys the freshest ingredients. We don't sit on fragrances and essentials for years and years and then sell them. If we don't turn it, we close it out at Handmade Studio and as a surplus. So we will take a look at bringing it back. We definitely can offer that in a 10-pound size if it's not already on the site. I know 10 pounds you may not want, so let's put the marketing team on trying to duplicate it or come up with something pretty close with using the fragrance formulator. Great question.
Don't forget about the new fragrances.
Oh, they are, you're jumping on my parade. So we have, I think, 23 new fragrance oils coming out. They're not here yet, so look for the new Facebook Live next week where I'm going to sniff them all, describe them all, tell you which one's my favorite, and then they should be here, so you're going to see them on sale and you're going to be able to buy them. So that's that. So you waiting for my big sale announcement? Starting right now, you guys are the first ones to hear it. All beeswax and carnauba wax is on sale. The ivory beeswax, the ultra refined white beeswax, the yellow beeswax, and carnauba wax. Now you might be saying, Deb, why'd you throw the carnauba in there? And there's a reason. If you find that you're making lip balm and you want to raise the melt point a little bit, but you don't want to add more wax, you can mix your beeswax 50-50 with carnauba wax, and it's going to raise the melt point significantly. Beeswax has a flash point of about a 140, and carnauba wax has a flash point of 175. So if you mix the two, you're naturally going to raise the melt point, and as an added bonus, you're going to get a beautiful gloss to your lip balm. So that's my big surprise for today. I got to take some more water. These guys are laughing at me.
Actually, another question before that. Unsweetened flavor oils.
We can look at bringing in unsweetened flavor oils, yes. I will pass that on to purchasing. So if you guys have been watching the Facebook Lives for the last few weeks, you've heard me talk over and over. It's snowing again in Cleveland. It's snowing again in Cleveland. Well, today it's 77, and my allergies have kicked in full gear, full disclosure. So I apologize for the stuffy nose, the coughing, the scratchy throat, but I am not complaining because I do not want one more day of snow. So the other thing is Handmade Conference. If you're on our email list, you heard Sharon Johnson is coming and doing a 2-hour talk on fluid hot process soap making. So the nice thing about that is you don't need the long cure time and you can use it right away. Holly Port is doing a great talk on the perfect bath bombs and some other surprise bubbly trends that are on trend. And she and Angela Carlillo, I'm sorry, Angela, I mispronounce your last name every time, are doing a really special philanthropic project with everybody. They're going to lead making blankets to donate to something called the Linus Project here in the Cleveland area for kids and adults in need. And we've gotten the fabric donated, and we're all gonna make blankets and help donate those. And then Allison Contour is doing several talks on a labeling workshop where you're going to be able to bring in some of your labels. She's going to help you make those right. She's also, look for the email coming out, going to do consultation one-on-one, where you're going to be able to talk to her about private label design, upping your manufacturing. She's doing a couple other talks. Marla Bosworth is going to do another fabulous cold process soap talk, as well as do some private breakout sessions on scaling up your business, wholesale, everything that she's walked the walk on. You're going to be able to meet one-on-one with her for some consultations. Angela is going to do a lotion making class. I'm going to do 5 talks this year, everything from melt and pour soap to preservatives to how to brand your business. So if you jump over to handmadeconference.com, you'll see all the speakers, you'll see all the talks. It's $950. I know that sounds like a ton of money, but for $950, you get 4 nights hotel stay at the venue. You get admission to the conference. You get 3 nights of meal. Well, you get 9 meals, but you get 3 nights of entertainment. The meals we do, they're omelet stations. They're hot breakfasts. They're not Danish and pastries and stuff you probably wouldn't eat every day. They're really nice hot meals. We're going to go to the Hofbrauhaus one night. We're busing everyone. So if you fly in and you don't have a car, don't worry about it. We're going to a casino one night. If you don't gamble, don't worry. It's going to be a really nice private dinner in their comedy club, and then you can just people watch until the buses bring you back. So it's really great. We have had payment plans, but I have to tell you, everything needs to be paid by May 1st. So go over to either wholesalesuppliesplus.com and click on conference, or go to handmadeconference.com and order your ticket. Literally 15 tickets are left, you guys. So jump on it, help us fill up the conference, help us sell out. We want to jump on it. So that's about it. I appreciate you tuning in. Again, thanks for bearing with my allergies. We don't shoot this, chop it up, and only give you the good stuff. We give it to you raw and real. Maybe I'll trademark that. Tune in April 26th. Sharon Johnson, we're actually flying her in, and we're going to do a soaping and slippers with some of the hot process. Not the full conference one, because that's something special, but a quickie 45 minutes. So that's it. I don't have anything else for today. I'll be on for about an hour answering your questions. Otherwise, I'll poke in and out throughout the evening. So that's it from Debbie May with Wholesale Supplies Plus. Have a super weekend. Make it a good one. Bye.